love this prepaid debit card that comes with new dual-eligible Medicare Advantage special needs plans. Mortality rate of rate 100. That is 42. Come back. It says 75%. According to a disturbing new analysis, phrases like "get back in the kitchen" and "your body, my choice" has surged on social media since Trump's election. A post by Nick Fuentes, for example, on the night of the election, saying "your body, my choice" forever, got over 90 million views, posted more than 35,000 times. Between Thursday and Friday, the ISD recorded a 4,600% increase in mentions of the phrase on X, and also posts calling for the repeal of the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote. Also surged 663% on X last week compared to the prior. I think almost. Mortality rate of rate. Same mother is while singing to them, Rachel Henry. She lost her, had a huge impact on her mental health, got into, and eventually she lost her job. She then moved to Arizona with 3 kids, lived at her aunt, but she was still addicted and broke. Her addiction was so bad, neighbors saw her walking around the street like a zombie. One night she was alone at the house playing with her 3 kids. All of a sudden she suffocated her 3-year-old daughter with a pillow. Even her 3-year-old son was Rachel trying to get her to stop, but it was once her daughter stopped moving, carried her to the bedroom and wrapped her in like she was. Now she started chasing her 3-year-old son around the house. Luckily, the aunt, just as this was happening, disturbing facts that might ruin. There have been at least fatal plane crashes. They are all spending more than 6 hours, more than 25% of our entire existence. There are job applications out there that are only for collecting. Why large companies have positions that they never actually hire. Wildlife nature from hundreds with all of the birds that bald eagles, owls, sparrows, robins, cranes. 5,000 years are attacked by dogs. A 6-year-old's family thought he was friendly with strangers, so they had a coworker that was a stranger to them. Pulled him in the truck for 4 hours for lecturing him about strangers. Half of all plastic in Cranes have a derivative of fat uric acid that is also what taxes. Only is harmful. Okay. My friend Mama?
sleeping in the chair? That's a real pretty girl. Ah, baby. Was you waiting, Daddy? You didn't know? You didn't know when Daddy was getting up? Baby girl. Baby girl. Tell her. Hi. Hi. You Daddy, baby. You Daddy girl. Yeah, you're a real pretty girl. Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
If we're being honest, I'm with right now. First, just dog. If you have a dog, you need to know this. When a dog lays on your back with their belly, they trust you because that's a very bold. And when a dog leans against your leg, it's their way of hugging you. Dogs get something called this, makes them crazy, and it only happens to dogs that are happy and healthy. Dog is, you're a good owner. When a dog tilts their head, they're curious and trying to figure out whatever it is. And finally, dogs play fighting because they don't want to hurt you. Their way of listen, you can only follow something that's that. Alamo author of Jewish Greek descent who had to literally fight for his life in the Holocaust. Rounding it out with he had an record of 4-0 after asked the prisoners if there was any fighters involved. This was the fight right there. And with another also. Almost participants under fight. Fight and somebody went down or they got sick of watching. But this next one is a prime example of how you should survive with your passion. Great passenger of a car that's on black ice and falling out. Accident occurred on the dashboard, causing her to into her every time. Also left with doctor finally 2009. animals on. Explain. They share 90. Also, cut the gift they ain't caught. Ball hug, face. That's perfect. That's what I'm pretty. Mine says fine. I was like, good thing. 30. Perfect. What's going on? This is a Western. Also, particular its scientific name. Fun fact name. Private care. Those are walking. They don't think it. Yeah, we're not that different. Walking for this first week. That 98 something. That's his girl. You know. Or more okay, girl. Okay, like. Also attracted to youth after being raised by the government, especially with football. There were several women flash codes. There was a lawsuit over them on Charles to prove that gorillas are like us. Another thing about it is active doors because everybody is mentally and her too at this like her dog therapy. She is satisfied talking to her reflection. First game, never play. Part 35, Gnome Gnome Come. This game will allow you to have any wish come true. Only 3 or more people play this game. You'll also need to start in a dark room. Tie one end of a thread to the chair or the end of the table. Now, one by one, have every player wrap a piece to this thread. Each player ties their key to make a wish. This can be anything, but do not say it out loud. Once everyone has made their wish and ring, have everyone face away from you. Now have one player turn off the light. Once this is all complete, you should all chant Gnome Gnome Come 3 times. Now wait. Listen carefully for any movement, rustling, grabbers. If you do hear anything, the game is going as it should be. But do not turn around until it stops. If it does stop, you can lights and go look at the candy has been unwrapped, bitten, or eaten entirely. This is where has chosen to grant your not doing. Oh, I mean, Number 9, 500 deaths. Number 8, 1,000 deaths. Number 7, all 1,000. Number 6, round 1,000. Number 5, 40,000 deaths. Number 4, assassin monk, 10,000. Number 3, lost vipers, 138,000 deaths. Number 2, freshwater, 100,000 deaths. Finally, number 1, 725,000, 1 million deaths. Horror. Serve their.
I went to the film festival and I watched a movie that I can't stop thinking about, and they're releasing posts and how they'll see.
I'm out of the house just back to my car. Mind you. What? I saw you go to your car. Had you left the door open? It's like I can hear now. I, your back was turned. Just open the door. I'm trying to help you. That movie looks like it could. It was like those. I'm not doing it.
The Fion ice hockey star who died from Nottingham down the road was cut by a 9-year-old collapsing.
That sounds like something. Your brain right now to ask yourself what is the most disturbing and all original moment TV shows. Don't look under the bed because actually almost never even made any of the that did eventually make were considered so disturbing. This is actually only channel that has a rating. And Sweeney, president of Disney Channel at the time, as well as executives, had a lot of issues. And even today, there are still that have never seen the light of day. We're not going to be. I think in part the credit should go to the director who trying to creatively push boundaries of what could be horror, non-disturbing, pretty dark, starting to play with psychological horror when Francis and everybody else thinks crazy. 2006 actually pulled it from the October catalog, not beyond. And I stopped this part 1 year. Now, I'm bringing number 1. There are more. lies on the bed. The demon that possessed him, happy took the lie for the job. Number of X. Number 5. It is that you're back all the way up your number 6. High diet. But the reason on down. Number 7. Eyes have a separate body. Once your body covers that eye, back and in like that. Back. Number 8. Average man. That's about you. At first, when I was younger, definitely see what we're trying to.
Okay, pack lunch, treats from the vending machine on me. This, that's pretty.
Oh, oh.
Hey, what is going on? It is black, and I'm coming. Y'all, all right, so now today, that the part, the present, what follows, the fact that spiritual, physical, right? Now, in this video, I have a very, very interesting. Some of y'all may have seen it around a lot on 4 to 5 years, right? It comes from two guys who are well versed in the topic, well versed in the Bible, and pretty much talking about exactly part one about UFOs, aliens, fallen angels, right? They also arson, um, the Aleister Crowley ritual, things that are done and summon things to our reality. It all ties back to presence, higher, and kind of like the same thing that CERN is, which is great. Veil, barrier, protects us from darkness, from spiritual realm. They do a really good job of talking about explaining what UFOs or aliens represents. Like I said, I believe. I don't, think it's the truth. I full, know, tired UFO, right? All the way back to Hillary Clinton thought she was about to be. I will see in this clip even just like Trump when Hillary Clinton thought she was about to be president, that she was gonna fall, like love to say and toy with us. Gonna go into the vault, release all the information with those. Same thing Trump said. Went to the vault. We're gonna talk about it all. Full disclosure, so on and so on, right? Get that same rundown. No, nothing that they're doing to share or plus they just running that same game about UFO, right? So this clip, y'all, I think y'all will enjoy this clip. I think I'm gonna break it up because the actual interview is about 50 minutes long. It's tons of information throughout the entire clip. That and so if y'all watch the entire thing, but I'm gonna break it up. All right, here. Also gonna go over an article about a called the Collins Elite, what they had to do at arson rituals that ran those house Holly the Lima type rituals, white creatures, UFOs and out realm, right? Because all of this started back in the 40s when the Nazi society was doing the exact same, contacting entities, right? It all circles back where it was started, where it began. So with that being said, y'all, check this.
Looked at this alien question. You can go back to even the past election in 2016. Hillary was talking about how if she won, she was going to open the vault and get into basically exposing what UFOs are and the alien question. We wanted to look at it in the biblical aspect of it and to try to break down, what are we dealing with here? Because the world does have this answer, but as we found out, so does the Bible.
We understand that the Antichrist is coming on the face of the earth. There will be an Antichrist. And we know that he has fallen angels that are going to be working with him. He's going to have a demonic army. He's going to have all types of lying signs and wonders. The Bible talks about these lying signs and wonders. And if it were possible, the elect would be deceived by his cunning. I believe the aliens in the last days, which we don't really believe them to be space aliens, and we'll get into that here in a few minutes, but I believe that the alien entities, the higher entities, they will likely use some type of a cataclysmic event, something major, whether it's real or synthetic. We know about Project Bluebeam. We know about technology where they can project an image in the sky.
There's going to be things that come upon this earth that are going to cause men's hearts to fail them. And so, like right now, everybody is consumed with this Western civilization of idea of going to work and coming home and watching the ball game and getting married, 2.5 kids, dog and a cat, that whole deal. There's no room for supernaturalism there. But when that does take place, it's going to flip the world on its head. And so I think that this is kind of like we've already seen like a soft disclosure take place. And I think it's prepping the world for that. But even more so, I believe that it's tying into what the Bible says is going to take place. And ultimately, it's going to be pointing the world towards an Antichrist, towards a false prophet promoting that Antichrist. He's going to be able to call fire down from heaven. It's going to be some supernatural feats taking place in the eyes of men. And so if the world doesn't have a supernatural worldview, that's going to give it to them. I think that all this is going to culminate, pointing people to this so-called messianic figure that's going to be in the place of Christ. And for the church, the big thing on that end of things is that if they don't have a supernatural worldview, if they see this coming upon the world, if just specifically in Matthew 24, people claiming to be anointed, people claiming to be Messiah, which is just another word for anointed, underneath that, anointed for an office, they're going to be coming in the name of Jesus. So they get their foot inside the church doors, and they're saying they're anointed, and they're going to be doing crazy lying signs and wonders. And so that would be believing in what they see and what they experience versus having faith in God and His Word.
No, Jesus said that there's coming a time where they're going to say to Him, "Lord, Lord, I did all this good stuff in Your name." The thing that gets my attention there is that he mentioned some specifics like casting out demons in Your name. I mean, there's a major denomination right now that they make their big deal on casting out demons. There's a couple of them, actually. There's going to be people that think they're operating spiritual gifts, yet Jesus is going to say, "I never knew you." But what we're talking about with this alien idea, the aliens are going to be giving different types of experiences to people. This is what people have to understand. The experiences have to be tested with Scripture, because otherwise we're going to accept them because they're supernatural experiences, whether it's a supernatural healing, whether it's some type of a prophetic event where they speak a word of knowledge or they know something about your history, whatever it may be. The aliens could have a cure for cancer. The aliens. These higher entities are coming from a different place than us. They're not earthborn. The only ones that could be earthborn would be the demons, which came through the line of the Nephilim. And obviously that's a little bit of a different scenario. It ties in together. But with higher entities, we're dealing with, there is a group that we tracked in this film called the Collins Elite. And the idea was trying to answer the question, were there events in history where the American government was working with entities? That was kind of the beginning of this research. And if so, what happened? Can we validate this? What came of that? But also, were there factions in the government who stood up against these things? That was the premise of this film. And we started off by talking about a group known as the Collins Elite. Now, let's just go back in time. There was an event that took place back in the late 40s known as the Babylon Working Ritual. Now, this was a ritual that was carried out by Jack Parsons, JPL. People will even to this day say that JPL stands for Jack Parsons Laboratories, but on paper it's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. JPL is major. It's a historic, so much surrounding this, so much history here. Jack Parsons was not professionally trained, yet he was tapping into high technology and building rockets. How do you do that without any type of formal training? There were no rocket programs in America before Jack Parsons. This is paramount to understand. This guy was tapping into, Theosophy, Thelema, the religion of Aleister Crowley. He was a disciple of Aleister Crowley, and he was working with L. Ron Hubbard, who was the founder of Scientology. Interestingly, not only did L. Ron Hubbard start Scientology, but he was a science fiction writer. The movie Battlefield Earth with John Travolta, well, that was written by L. Ron Hubbard. Interestingly also, John Travolta is a Scientologist, right? Now, I mention this because this is a man who writes science fiction, yet he started a religion based on science fiction. There has to be something in there where he's getting these clues and these ideas. He's getting these from another realm.
From that point, they ripped a hole open into space-time. And from that point afterwards, you had, regardless of what Parsons actually successfully completed during that with the Whore of Babylon and different things, after that, you had the Roswell incident, you had the Kenneth Arnold sightings, you had in '53, there was the swarm of UFOs that flew over the White House. And so there's this unleashing of supernatural activity that took place after that ritual was performed.
To everyone else, this is a task, but to you, launch pad. your starting block. See the dance? This is opportunity. Switch and say it to get the Coach Prime Motor G5G on us at your local booth.
All right, y'all. Now, to start the interview going right in the thick of it, where all of the flow, right? Especially as to do with rituals, the religion of Alistair Crowley, Carson. So look, it's very interesting. I got an article I want to that Parsons on. Okay, that Parsons was the original rocket. Notice that he had no formal training, something about way understanding through rituals. Who knows how he was something that he had rockets, so on, right? One thing I do want to say though that really caught my mind, really caught my eye. It doesn't really this
Oh my God, no, Harley, you missed it. You have never done that in your life. Thank you, baby. That's my fault. I was distracted. I'm sorry, baby. You okay, homie? Oh my God.
But they don't have a foundation, right? They don't like to call it, and they think they are actually operating spiritual gifts from God. They think they are actually different. In actuality, you don't really know God. You don't talk to God. You don't love God. You don't really give it up. You don't sacrifice things in your life so God can show you the path you are supposed to go down. A lot of times you don't realize what's right in front of you, but God is actually trying to show you because it's really all about you and your at the end it all fall short, but must have and create that relationship with God and get our hearts in the right place before things take a turn for the worse. So it says, his story is a strange one that verges on being absolutely evil. Often referred to as the ultimate mad scientist, Parsons' research in the field of rocketry basically gave birth to NASA and allowed for mankind to release itself from the atmosphere, deep into space. A true Hollywood boy, Parsons was born on October 2nd, 1914 in Los Angeles and quickly became fascinated by rockets inspired by many pulp sci-fi magazines he would read as a young boy. Now check this out. It is also said that as a child, he would perform rituals to manifest the devil in his. Think about that, y'all. This goes back to what I was talking about at the end of the most recent video, or it was the one before that, where I was talking about everybody is not humans. They may believe the way that we do, they may look the way that we do, but they are not actually us. This is one of those situations where that comes into play. I just can't, I just don't believe these people are human like us, that they possess the same soul that we possess, the same connection to God, because as a kid, he's already doing rituals to manifest the devil in his bedroom. What does he know about life to be doing rituals to manifest the devil? This is one of those situations where I feel like he's one of those people, that they're not human. They just look like us, they bleed like us, but they're not us, y'all. That's one thing we gotta realize. Like this bloodline of the Nephilim, like as in what, when we were watching that Pastor Darby clip, their bloodline still runs deep. And this is what some of these people are. They're not human like us. And I fully believe that these people are out there. And, some of them have already passed on. But, those spirits, that spirit that resides in them, it still lurks. It still, can possess people, especially the people of that particular bloodline. that Jack Parsons may have been a part of. And that's just me thinking about the fact that, he could have been tied to, and that's just me thinking about the fact that, he could have been a part of a bloodline that got him to where he is or where he was back at that time. It says this obsession grew and grew over time as far as him trying to manifest the devil. And after graduating high school, the young man alongside his best friend Ed Foreman linked up with Frank Molina, a graduate student at the California Institute of Technology, forming what they would call the Squad. I can't say that S word, y'all already know. While the idea of rockets were perceived as nothing more than sci-fi fantasy, him and his peers moved forward with their experiments and research, proving that Parsons was a natural genius when it came to developing chemicals and mixing them in exactly the right amounts that these reactions could be so explosive, but controllable. This knowledge was later used by NASA. Of course, with this knowledge came questions and queries of who exactly Jack Parsons and what the man had uncovered. Shocking. The picture of Aleister Crowley. While Parsons was pioneering rocket science, he was also an avid follower of occult circles in Hollywood. He was an attendant of the Ordo Templi Orientis and took part in meetings led by the father of modern-day occultism, Aleister Crowley. He was even appointed West Coast leader of the OTO by Crowley himself. Now you have to imagine, because it goes back to the book of Enoch and the fallen angels. Remember, the fallen angels basically taught against everything that they wasn't supposed to teach. And if this guy just had this natural, curiosity, natural genius, supposedly, when it came to developing chemicals and mixing them in exactly the right amounts so that the reactions could be explosive but controllable, I wonder where he got that knowledge from. He was trying to summon the devil as a kid. I'm pretty sure he was able to reach some of these entities that, taught him what he knew, or, he was possessed by some of these entities. That is what was natural to him, things that needed to be done in order to, complete the rituals of the future that they really wanted to attain, the knowledge they were really. Now, here's some more freaky stuff. Through the money he was making in his rocket business, he bought a mansion in Pasadena, California, which became a party house to facilitate occult rituals and orgies. Like all kind of rituals, occultism, sex is always involved. Wow, because it is useful. Saying the Diddy thing, everything. It's all about sex. Very spiritual, but we know that already, right? These stories led to Parsons being a bit of a liability to the government, and he was paid out shares Aerojet, passed out from the field, had developed itself. This led to a further delve into the occult. In 1946, he would host a series of ritual rites, which he called the Babylon Working. Remember, that's what they were talking about in the clip, which he performed alongside Scientology founder Ron Hubbard. That's the guy that they mentioned. The ritual was performed from January to March, over 2 months. An effort to manifest an incarnation of Babylon, a divine feminine spirit described by Aleister Crowley, 1917 novel, Moonchild. After the first series of these rituals, Parsons was introduced to Major E. Cameron, who he regarded as the manifestation they were attempting to summon. An unsuccessful attempt was made to conceive a child through sex magic, which Aleister Crowley himself regarded as foolish. Nevertheless, Cameron was regarded now as the Scarlet Woman / Babylon, who quickly married. This is what they were talking about when they were starting to cite UFOs around the 40s and 50s after Jack Parsons completed these rituals. His alienation from the world of rocket science led him to work on explosive for the film industry. While the FBI still paid close attention to his movements, on June 1952, Parsons was killed by an unplanned detonation at home laboratory. 37 years old. Cameron and others who knew the man doubt that this genius would ever have made such a fatal mistake. UFO sighting above Washington, D.C. just after his death led her to believe that this was Parsons' medication. Unfortunately, her mental state began to deteriorate, and in 1952 she gathered a small clique of practitioners to create a cult called the Children, whose aim was to create a mixed-race society of moon children who would be devoted to the Egyptian god Horus. Now, the crazy thing about that children cult, it makes me think about River Phoenix, Children of God cult that he was in, also in California. Well, that might actually be the same cult, but maybe back then it was just called the Children. By the time River Phoenix made his circle through it, it was called the Children of God cult. I'm not really sure on that, but it makes me think about that because y'all remember we did a video on River Phoenix and talked about the Children of God cult. So y'all, that was pretty interesting, and it gives us a deeper understanding of who Jack Parsons was and his role in basically starting the ground for NASA. We know NASA also consists of a bunch of those German scientists who, was first a part of this whole UFO and creating flying saucers and so on, right? So it gives us a very good background that we should understand about where all of this stuff started when it comes to summoning these higher entities or these demonic beings that manifest into UFOs, or if you want to call them aliens. So with that being said, y'all, we'll jump back into this clip and we'll come back and talk about it a little. Check this out.
Oh my God.
In just 2 months this year, Big Pharma hiked prices on nearly 1,000 brand name drugs, outpacing inflation. Big Pharma sets the price. The price is the problem. Hold Big Pharma accountable. Ask Conan Blumenthal.
When you get Zaxx Packs on movie night, you get 20 of our famous fingers, crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and so much sauce. Tonight's feature presentation is rated D for drip. Who's got the sauce? Zaxx Packs.
I love Made In. I love what Made In represents.
You would think a pan is a pan until Made In came along, and I went, wow, these things are something better.
I love that I can trust Made In. Very rarely do you find cookware that can both be used in the home and professionally.
Those are the pans that we use at Aluminum. We're going to have the best pans in the world at one of the best restaurants.
Babylon Working was successful, according to Jack Parsons. Matter of fact, Parsons said in his Antichrist Manifesto that they were successful and that a child was conceived in that act, and that there was a spirit known as Hilarion. The Whore of Babylon was what they were trying to bring about. They believed what we believe, and that America was the final Babylon. Like, this was the revived Babylon. They believed it, and they were occultists. We're Christians, and we believe it. There's evidence to back this up. But yes, let's backtrack just for a second. What happened was they opened up this portal. They created a rift, and entities began to come through. Not just this Whore of Babylon being birthed, but other entities, because people all over the place started having paranormal encounters, and they began to report this to law enforcement, report this to the FBI, report this to whatever agency they could get in touch with. And so the federal agencies said, we've got to come up with an answer for this. We were not prepared for any of this. There's UFO activity. There's talk of entities and demons and winged creatures and just all kinds of weird, just paranormal, demonic activity following this ritual that Jack Parsons said finally worked. They did the ritual for a couple years. It finally worked, finally stuck. And that's what a scientist does. A scientist is going to work at something. He's going to work at the hypothesis until it's proven true or false. Now, finally, the researchers, the government puts together this group that says, we're going to get answers. So what exactly took place out there in the desert in California by Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard? They go to Jack Parsons. And keep in mind, Jack Parsons is also working with the government. He's now been given, special privileges on things. So they go to him and they say, Jack, all of this stuff that's happening right now, did you do this? Did you do this? And he said, I think so. Now, shortly thereafter, Jack Parsons blows himself up in a lab. accidental. It was not intentional. They're trying to figure out how to undo what Jack Parsons did. So they go through satanic rituals to communicate, because that's the only method of communication that they know that works to contact these entities. In doing this, there's a small faction known as the Collins Elite. This is where our film picks up. The Collins Elite was a small group inside of this larger group that was originally created to get answers to all of this. But once they began to engage in satanic rituals and magic and alchemy, this group says, hey, you know what? This is not what we signed up for. This small group raises up. It's a faction. It's a counterpoint group, which means that they're no longer in agreement with the big group. They have a different opinion. They say, we have a Christian worldview. This goes against our Christian worldview. And so they see that entities are being channeled and communicated with, and now technology is being given through these rituals to these other members of the government. So the Collins Elite says, whoa, this is dangerous. You guys are really playing with fire here. We can't support this. We can't do this. And they came up with this idea that the aliens were going to take over, and that in order to protect our country from the aliens, from the entities, they believed that we needed to instate a forced theocracy based on the law of Moses. Because they thought if our country would go back under the law of Moses, that we would be untouchable from these entities. This group, this bigger group that was researching to get answers, they did not exist. Okay, this was what's known as a limited access program, or an LAP. A limited access program means that nobody in Congress has to know about this.
The Collins Elite were a counterpoint group within different governmental organizations that were party to satanic ritual being used to make contact with these aliens or with these higher entities. And because of their Christian faith, they had the conviction. They saw this taking place, and they're like, well, we don't need to be a part of this. This is what the Bible talks about in the worship of demons and of other gods, and especially being, using blood sacrifice and different types of black magic to be able to accomplish it. So they saw that, and they didn't want to be a part of it. They also were able to tie this back to what Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard did in the desert in the late 40s.
Now, to go ahead and end this video off, I also found another article about the Collins. So it says the Collins Elite is a mystery and little-known group within the realm of theories, paranormal investigations. The group is believed to consist of former government agents, officers, and religious scholars who share a common interest in the intersection of science, religion, and unexplained. The primary goal of the Collins Elite is to investigate and understand the paranormal, supernatural phenomena that have been reported throughout history. This includes UFO sightings, encounters with extraterrestrial beings, instances of high strangeness that defy conventional scientific explanations. Their mission is shrouded in secrecy, and they are known for their reluctance to disclose their findings to the public. The Collins Elite is thought to have emerged around the 1950s, coinciding with the peak of the Cold War, widespread interest. It is speculated that this group may have been established within the intelligence agencies of the U.S. government during that period. Now, note, all of this stuff started around the 40s and 50s. Always have to go back to the Nazis, Girl Society. Remember, I said none of this stuff grew without Nazis, Girl Society. It just lets you know everything, everything connects with it. Even this Collins Elite group being started after the Nazi Party and the Brill Society had their run. Collins Elite is described as a collection of individuals within the U.S. government and military who hold a particular set of beliefs regarding UFOs and their origins, rather than a formal agency. The group's name and its theories gained attention through investigations and writings by individuals like Nick Redfern. Redfern's research involved direct contact with members of the Collins Elite, led him to conclude that the group believes UFO phenomena are not extraterrestrial, but rather demonic in nature. See, y'all? See? Really get to researching this stuff. This supposed Collins Elite group that consists of, all of these government and military guys and intelligence agency people. They even believe that they're not extraterrestrial, They're demonic in nature. Something to note. This belief is said to be based on a combination of religious conviction and interpretations of historical events, including early modern UFO sightings and alleged encounters. The group's perspective is deeply influenced by religious fundamentalism, significant focus on potential demonic origins of UFOs they believe are deceptive, manipulative forces aimed to lead humanity. Now that's exactly what that Arthur said. Remember that older white guy video we did where he said they're messengers of deception. That's exactly how he said it. The UFOs, messengers of deception. And what do they believe? They believe they are deceptive and manipulative forces aiming to mislead humanity. Sound just like the devil. Sound just like manipulate you, destroy you, and mislead you. The Collins elite views were shaped by figures such as Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley, whose occult practices in the early to mid 20th century are thought to have opened a portal to malevolent entity. This belief system led the Collins elite to conclude that UFO phenomenon is part of an end-time scenario, where the appearance of extraterrestrial beings could be a deception by satanic forces. Check that again. This belief system led the Collins elite to conclude that the UFO phenomenon is part of an end-time scenario, where the appearance of extraterrestrial beings could be a deception by satanic forces. What were they talking about in the beginning? They were talking about the Antichrist. They were talking about this deception, to where the elect could possibly be tricked, be deceived. Now, could this be that deception that we're talking about that they have basically been preparing for us since the beginning of TV, since the beginning of shows, since the beginning of media? Think about that. The group's activities and meetings, as reported by Redfern, took place in various informal settings and were initiated by the group members themselves. The nature of the Collins elite stems from secretive operations and their reluctance to share their findings. They believe that the information they have uncovered about the paranormal and supernatural is too sensitive and potentially destabilizing for society at large. The Collins elite persists that UFOs and related phenomena might be deeply entwined with occult practices and supernatural entities, rather than just technology, galaxies, or not. Redfern's narrative suggests that this group believes in the existence of non-human entities, which they perceive not as aliens in a traditional sense, but as beings from other dimensions or realms, possibly with malevolent intentions. This perspective aligns with a more paranormal, supernatural interpretation of UFO encounters, suggesting that these experiences could be interactions with entities from different planes existence. That's what it is. And that's why in the beginning of the clip, the guy was talking about the church or just the average person having more of a supernatural outlook on life. Basically being able to prepare yourself for a huge, deception of some sort. Because a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that kind of understanding where they would be able to recognize that, this is some bullshit. This is not an alien from a distant galaxy that pulled up an advanced technology UFO. A lot of people won't be able to recognize what's going on. That this is a trick. These are demonic beings that were summoned, that were brought here with rituals and the biggest machine underground in the world as CERN, Hadron Collider. These beings are brought here through portals. And this is the deception that we're getting as far as UFOs and aliens. They're demonic beings. Fallen angels with malevolent. The article says, whatever you want to call it. That right there. And this is, like I said, really want to know what a UFO, alien is. This is the stuff you should be studying. This is the stuff you should take time to read. This is where the truth lies, right here. Not a gray alien. No, none of that BS. All right, y'all. So, yeah, man, that'll go ahead and wrap this video up. This is like a everlasting topic. So, if I find anything else that's a little bit different, but kind of along the same topic and supports what we've been doing in these last two videos, I'll be sure to drop another one. I feel like this is a topic y'all probably won't get tired of. So, y'all just let me know what y'all find. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the video. By the way, stay tuned because Sunday I have a really good video for y'all. But yeah, with that being said, y'all, it's Black Balloon, and I'm gonna see you. I'm out.
Ah, I see you brought guests. Job's done.
This message is for anyone and everyone with Medicare. Do you have coverage?
This is the Nation's Inspire channel. Welcome to today's show. Bill Gates is once again trending. The stories have come out about a major dairy provider poisoning their cattle for worsening of climate change.
I cannot wait to read these.
Where the headlines are, why Bill Gates is under fire over cow flattening. Social media is raging. Plan backed by the billionaire tribal additive welfare. Will it harm human health or save the planet? Well, not paying
May the
attention.
light grant you peace.
They try to
May
deflect
the
on
light
by
grant
calling
you
it
peace.
disinformation because people get the companies mixed up of investing in what. And it really just goes back to all these guys like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. These psychopath billionaires.
Going on a
supply chain. That's really the focus that all civilians guided as the fact that we've allowed them to take over the food supply chain because these people we look at as well, they're dairy farmers, they're local dairy farmers, they're all working with these big corporations and they're the ones who are putting all these additives and chemicals in our food, which should tell us that all we need to survive in this food, and water.
My
and
client has the
medicine,
heart
all
of a
things that we
Kyrian.
grow and provide on the land. But we've allowed the government to take control of the food supply chain. We've allowed the government to poison our water, whether it's poisoning us from the sky, causing well water to, or just the flat out chemicals and chlorine that they dump. So here's the story, okay?
The shadows beckon. Here we go.
Over the methane cutting additive.
The results of my leadership.
Cows. They're calling it misinformation because they're saying that Bill Gates has no direction or no.
The results of my leadership.
And it's not with Beauvais. But this is where it gets funny, right? Because does it really matter if it's Bill Gates or anybody else? Because this is all connected to what do you in a second? Which, of course, like everything else, whether it's trains being derailed, blowing up giant black chemical smoke clouds in Palestine, Ohio, or wherever else, or it's just something like this, it always seems to go back to BlackRock, or in fact, fake assassination attempts that go back to BlackRock, and of course, Vanguard. So what they're trying to do is keep your attention away from what they're doing in the food supply chain by calling it misinformation. When they say misinformation, people's brains, just like when they hear conspiracy, are automatically trained to think that it's some crazy conspiracy, and then they take the word misinformation. They say, what's the misinformation? Oh, the misinformation is that Bill Gates has no affiliation with Fair. Then they just dismiss the story because Bill Gates doesn't have a direct affiliation with Fair, but Bill Gates has been backing startup companies that are aiming to reduce carbon emissions from cow burps and cow farts and methane output. Guess who else is? Jeff Bezos is backing developments of fart vaccines for cows to help save the planet. All of these billionaires are trying their best to help with the climate by reducing methane. There's nothing to do with helping with the climate, because if you're aware of what's going on with the weird climate patterns, constant hurricanes, earthquakes that we're seeing, it's the government themselves using weather modification, which they've had the ability to do 1950s, on civilians around the earth, and then blaming it on the climate, and on top of that, they're going to blame it on you eventually by telling you it's your carbon emissions, it's your methane output, your carbon output, that's causing all of these hurricanes to occur, and you're going to need to lock yourself inside, put on your headsets, and go into the virtual realm, because being outside is harmful. Environment. All of this stuff is under the climate rules, which of course nobody seems to understand that the government is using weather modification as a come in with climate laws, which reduce our rights, which give them full authority to decide where we go and what we say. So billionaires are backing effort to develop the methane facts. This is the story that's out there right now. These are the very we're putting in this poison into the supply chain, of course, using cows as skin, and eventually using us, of course, as skin. Because if you don't know, this stuff goes right to them, and right through them, and right into our bodies.
So many options.
I'm Jay,
I'm Adam.
and we run a family dairy farm of 120 cows.
Been Arla members for the last 10 years.
The latest innovation we're looking at is Beauvais. Beauvais is a feed additive.
We're going on a dangerous voyage.
Allows us to reduce enteric methane emissions for dairy cows. Enteric methane being cows during their natural digestive process.
Keep
Today,
your enemies
we're working
close.
with Arla and DSM, Beauvais setup process, learning about what's in it and how we can make it. Here's what we're excited about Beauvais is it's just some very dumb company things like making really rigorously and
Sounds like these are really important. How to do that.
My hand
we're
is too
pleased the
full.
customers are joining us and investing in.
Wow, I did not
So
see
dairy
that
farmers are talking
coming.
about this product, Beauvais. We'll get into the side effects.
True
But
strength
Beauvais
comes from
is
within.
owned by Elanco Animal Health. You have to always trace these things back. And if you trace it back and then you say, oh, okay, Elanco Animal Health. I have no idea who they are. Well, that's the largest shares. Who are the largest shareholders? Well, there they are. Vanguard and BlackRock, of course, right? BlackRock, who owns pretty much everything. When you hear Jeff Bezos getting involved in this, simple BlackRock owns Amazon. BlackRock owns CNN. BlackRock also owns Fox News, be able to say, hey, wait a minute, we
Reporting
own
for
both
duty.
sides, right? They're playing both sides. They own everything. That's why Larry Fink is a right-hand man of who? Of Donald Trump, of course. There's been rumored that Larry Fink might be in Donald Trump's cabinet, but they might not want to do that out in the open, of course, because then maybe it's actually tough, because a lot of people are still stuck in the left-brain paradigm. You know about Larry Fink and BlackRock and behavioral control and their hand in all of these events that have been happening around the world over the last 20 years or so, specifically recently. We just saw with the fake assassination attempt, BlackRock commercial, where the shooter was in the commercial, the BlackRock commercial, with the kid that they said almost assassinated Donald Trump, right? Of course, the shooter didn't survive, and BlackRock came out and said they had no affiliation with the shooter. So according to Arla's announcement, the trial conducted in partnership with steps in addressing the climate crisis through agricultural practices and turning of harmless farmers will take part in the project. Colbert, a product company, a Dutch company, SM, designed to reduce methane emissions from dairy cows by 27%. The additive works by targeting the methane produced during the natural digestive process of cows, a significant contributor to greenhouse gas emissions in agriculture. So, what you see there, these types of articles, the way they write these things, the majority of people, they have no idea what carbon emissions, methane emissions, dairy cows, 7% additive, they're all things greenhouse gases. They don't understand what's going on because it is make-believe, really. They don't even realize that what they're hearing is make-believe. It's their excuse to get away with the things that they're doing. They blame it on the boogeyman. That's what they always do. They blame all the climate weird weather patterns on the emissions from cows, right? So that gives them what? Access to what they want to the food supply, to tell you that you couldn't eat meat anymore, that everybody has to do their part, of course, making humans more and more unhealthy. And if you're not aware, humans produce methane.
Relaxation for all, and all thanks to me.
So eventually, what they're trying to do to these animals, the plan is to do it to you. And the carbon emission, of course, that they're trying to reduce is not some factory that has a pipe, smoke coming out, which is really water things. The emission they're trying to reduce is you, leaving your home, breathing out carbon. That's the carbon emission that they're doing everything they can to reduce. It's going to tell you that by altering your diet and eating the way that they say, not allowing you to farm on your own anymore, rations, and staying inside, is going to help save future generations. They're going to pat you on the back. They're going to tell you
Shield yourself from my strength.
and of course, as the people always do, just like they did when they were told to wear a mask and be a person, and then they went out and wore a mask. They were told to poison themselves to be a good person, and they went out and poisoned themselves. And what did they do? They posted. Even when they might have started to finally realize that they got duped, they refused to believe they got duped because they were getting patted on the back, and they continued to boast that, well, it doesn't matter, you know what, because I did the right thing. I didn't have to think for myself. I did the right thing. And eventually, when it comes to these carbon emissions, they're going to be told the same thing. Do the right thing. Stay inside. Go out less. Get your virtual reality headset. Literally, Ready Player One. Stay indoors. Your carbon emissions and going outside are going to affect the environment. And you're going to be living as a prisoner, because that's what they all want. So humans produce methane. Humans produce carbon. Let's start connecting the dots, ladies and gentlemen. And while we talk about what this additive is that they're putting in, they're trying to claim that there's no adverse side effects, right? Here's the thing here. While some claims suggest that the additive has no adverse effects on cows, a report from the Food Standards Agency last year highlighted concerns about 3-NOP, stating that it should be considered corrosive to the eyes, skin irritant, and potentially harmful by inhalation. So, in other words, you probably shouldn't eat it. And if you need more on Colbert, here's documentation where it's highlighted. The ingredients: silicone dioxide, okay, propylene glycol, 3-nitroxypropanol, okay? If you can't pronounce the words, or there's something that sounds like, an ingredient that you would find inside of a factory where they're trying to make bombs or something along those lines, you probably shouldn't eat. testing it, right? Whatever new ingredients like strawberry, blueberry, green beans, right? Wheat. All right, those ingredients don't exist anymore, right? You go, oh, I'm going to buy Cheerios, whole grain oats. Well, what should the side of the box say? It should say whole grain oats. But what does it say? It says a bunch of ingredients that you can't pronounce, including things like weed killer, which you don't even realize are actually in these processed foods. So you scroll down on the document, caution, do not feed undiluted for use in for lactating dairy cows only, not for use dry dairy cows, bulls, replacement heifers for bulls, growing cattle, or other ruminants. The safety and effectiveness have not been evaluated in animals. Silicone dioxide from all sources cannot exceed 2% by weight of the complete. And it says under their warning, not for human use. Caution should be exercised when handling the product. Free nitro, propanol may damage male fertility and reproductive working, right? And then if you look up some of the side effects again, male reproductive toxicity, chronic oral toxicity studies in rats have shown that 3-NOP can have severe effects on the male reproductive system, right? So they ain't gonna get you one way, they're gonna get you another way with depopulation, okay? There's many ways to depopulate. You can make men and women so on opposite sides of the aisle where most women are identifying as Democrats, most men are identifying as conservatives. They don't want to breed anymore. People don't want to interact with each other anymore. That's one way to depopulate. Another way, obviously, is to get people to poison themselves, poisoning our food, poisoning our air, hitting us with radiation poisoning. There's many ways they depopulate us, right? Don't forget about the male reproductive system and how back in the 60s and 70s, it's like every married couple were able to have a family of 4 with ease. It was almost like every time they, made intercourse with one another, they ended up getting pregnant and having kids. That's why you saw such large families back then. Families of like 8, 9. You're like, whoa, that's a big family, right? Now what do you hear about people trying to have kids? Almost everybody, you know at least 2 people in your life, I'm sure, who have had IVF. Whether you found out about it or not, maybe not. But most people have to go to these fertility doctors and help have babies and nobody can figure out why. Nobody's going, wait a minute, why is there suddenly a problem? Because they're too busy and too distracted with nonsense that they don't even think for 5 seconds about the chemical baths and the chemical dumped in their food being the reason that men aren't able to have babies and women aren't able to have babies with one another. Men's sperm aren't working, women's eggs aren't working, nobody's able to get fertile, and they got to go to the laboratory in a petri dish to be able to have a child. That's all because of your government. That's all because we've allowed these billionaires, which is really the ones who run your government, to gain control of everything, right? It goes back to BlackRock. It goes back to Vanguard. It's bigger than just Bill Gates. These specific individuals who randomly have their hand in everything, computer chips, the food supply chain, vaccines, the water supply, sucking carbon out of the air, building underground bunkers and tunnels at their own properties, living under there. What do you think all this is actually about? This doesn't have to be a left-right issue. This is a humanity issue. And there are very evil people who are dividing humanity up so that you don't notice what they're actually doing to us. Weather modification is real. They're using the climate agenda to convince you that you can change the way you live and what you eat better. It's not just about you not being able to live food like having a steak. It's about poisoning your body and making you food that they make in a petri dish, which will make it almost impossible for you to procreate and have children, and it will also give you many, many, many other issues inside of your body, including massive amounts of anxiety, depression. These are the things they're trying to do, and nobody out there is paying attention to it. So when stories like this come out, the first thing people should say is, okay, I am going to boycott Arla. And what people should try to do is they should try to start figuring out ways to farm again on their own. Now, I know there's this rumor that RFK is going to clean everything up. People out there want to believe that that's the answer. They do that by design. Because when you start thinking this way, they want you to think that their people who are put in these positions are going to be the ones in and save the day for you instead of you becoming independent of the government. Instead of you becoming independent, figure out how to get your own water. How do we all get our own well water where they can't poison it? How do we all get wells on our properties? How do we get well drills? How do we You don't even need a real well drill. You can actually do it on your own. It takes a lot of work, a lot of manpower. In today's world, of course, that doesn't really exist. But these are things that people should think about, but they don't. They think about what they can wear and what's the next technology that's coming out. And boom, when they pull the wool over everybody's eyes very soon with a false flag, they shut the grid off. Suddenly people go, wait, I can't call DoorDash? Wait, the grocery stores are empty? How am I going to survive? I never thought about it. When forever, the existence of humanity, that's been the main thing that humans have focused on. What are we going to eat? Where are we going to get water? If we're going somewhere, we're going by horseback somewhere, buggy, right? You got to make sure you stay somewhere safe, somewhere near water, because these are essential to life. Well, this has all been done by design. Where we've grown up in a world where, what? Worrying about water, I'll turn the sink on. Worrying about water, I'll go to the grocery store, get some Deer Park. Nobody even goes, hey, isn't it an insane notion that we actually go to the grocery store and buy water? Nobody thinks for a second about how insane that is, that we pay money for water, which is free and should be free. We buy it. And then when we think, oh, there's a storm coming, I better go get jugs of water, instead of thinking, hey, you know what, I should have had water supply on my property. I should have had a well pump. I should never have allowed the government to put city water in when I have to rely on the city water that's coming through. I don't know what's in the water. It's got
Oh,
it's got
wow.
fluoride. Or just in general saying, hey, you know, I shouldn't have city water because I shouldn't be.
What's that called? It's called a Mega Legendary? What the hell did you just say about this? Damn it, I knew I should have opened up the Starship pack. Son of a bitch. Freya? Oh, that's not a ENR. Freya. I've never gotten one of those. Why does she look different? Hold on, what? What is that? Got a frame around it. With that slag mustard. Yeah, that's what that is. What is this called? Is it a golden legendary? Oh no. Well, that's what I got. I'll put that on OBS. I've never gotten one of those. I wish I would have heard what he said. I didn't think I was going to get anything. I don't know what she called it. Oh, wait a second. I do have scenarios. ENR. That game capture. First. Not that. Probably what. Hey, what's up, guys? This is a one processor Colby computer. I hope the mic is okay. I'm playing both of my accounts, WoW and Hearthstone, and I just got, well, I have a normal legendary Freya on my main account from 2014. This is a new account from this year. And I was talking when Magni said what this is called. I'm talking about Freya. You can't create this type of card, but what type of card is this? I know it's a legendary, but why does it have that thing around it? I don't know what that is, but I just opened the pack. I've opened less than like 20 packs, and then I got this. I wish I would have opened up the Starship pack, but that's alright. But if somebody can explain to me what this is with the border around it, I'd appreciate it. And I'm live on Twitch. All right, bye. Stop recording. There we go. I'm definitely gonna make a druid deck now that I got her. Get another legendary. Okay. Damn. Damn. I just got like 5 rares and 5 epics in a row. How can I Death Speaker? After a friendly minion is reborn, summon a copy of it. Oh wow. Oh wait a minute. I can use that with Invincible. Huh? Oh, well, I feel that too. How can I Death Speaker? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna let her win. Need to get wins on here. What do I have? I need to get the card back on my second account too. I have enough time. Oh, I'm still on the apprentice track. Oh, I gotta get out of this. Ranked. Oh, that's why I don't. Okay, I see. I don't even have quests. I just have the apprentice track. Guess I'll invite from over here.
Valera versus Jaina.
You asked for it. Watch your back.
Job's done.
Choose soon. Time runs out on me. 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 Choose soon. Here we go. My hand is too full.
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
Audio processing.
Who's ready for another round? Who's ready for another round? Who's ready for another round?
The future is ours.
An incredible discovery!
Behold the tools of creation. Behold the tools of creation.
Growth and life and happiness and friends.
One size fits all.
The Edward!
One size fits all.
The fate of the world hangs in the balance.
Behold the tools of creation.
Drink with me, friend.
Let the Badlands burn. Scorch the sands.
One size fits all.
That rope's burning again.
You burn some, you earn some.